Assalamu alaikum students of class 7. I hope that you all are doing well at your homes. Welcome to your lecture number 17 and I am your teacher Miss Aisha Salim. So students, we are going to do something new today related to your grammar work. As we had done before indefinite tenses, we are going to do active and passive voice indefinite tenses today. So let us start our lecture. First of all, we all came to know that what is a voice. Okay, voice is a form of a verb takes to indicate whether the subject of the verb performs or receives the action. Okay, students, voice is a form of verb that tells us that either the subject of the verb is performing or receiving something. Okay, receiving the action. So this is a voice. And now there are two types of voice. Number one is active voice and number two is passive voice. In simple wording, the definition of active voice and passive voice is that the sentence which has a subject is called an active voice, and the sentence in which the uh, subject is uh, passive, that is a passive voice. Okay, so let me tell you further something about active voice and passive voice. First of all, active voice. What is active voice? Active voice indicates that the subject of the verb is acting. So students, subject is the doer of the sentence. Someone who is doing, who is acting upon something, that is called subject of the sentence. So because the subject does or acts upon the verb in such sentences, the sentences are said to be in the active voice. Okay. As I have told you before that in the sentence that has a subject and the subject is doing something acting upon, that sentence is called active voice. Let me explain you further with the help of examples. These examples show that the subject is doing the verb's action. Okay, number one is the dog jumped onto the boy. Number two, she eats subject. So first of all, we all have to highlight that what is the subject in this sentence? Who is doing an action? Who is acting upon in this sentence? So here is the subject. The dog is the subject in this sentence. Who is jumping onto the boy? The dog. So the dog is a subject. Okay. Um, and jumped. Jump is a verb in this sentence. And action. And the action is performed by the dog. And the one who on the action is performed is the boy. So the boy is an object here. Understand? Boy is an object here. So a sentence, this sentence has subject, its verb and its object. Same is the case with next sentence. She eats chocolates. So who is the doer of this sentence? She. She. Who is eating chocolates? She. So the action is performing she. Okay. Eats is a verb in this sentence and chocolates are the object in this sentence. Understand? So, this was about the basic information about of active sentence. Let me tell you further. In example 1, the dog is the subject and it is doing something. Okay, it is doing the jumping and the jump is a verb. So the one who is performing an action, who is doing something, that is called a subject. And in this sentence, in example 1, the dog is performing an action. In example 2, she is the subject, is eating verb. Okay, so eating is a verb in this sentence, and who is eating something, who is performing an action, a subject, and the subject is she. Passive voice. In a passive voice sentence, the subject and object flip flop. Flip flop means that something is reversible. Okay, the subject becomes the passive recipient of the action. Okay, in passive voice, the subject becomes an object and the object becomes an a subject. So it is a flip-flop. Because the subject is being acted upon or is passive, such sentences are said to be in the passive voice. Understand? Because of this reason, it is the sentence is called passive voice. So these examples show the subject being acted upon by the verb. So I have changed the voice of the previous of the sentences that I had told you in the active voice. I had changed the voice of those sentences, so it will be easy for you to understand it well. The sentence was the dog jumped onto the boy. So here is its passive voice. The boy was jumped onto the boy on by the dog. So you can see the subject is takes place of object and the object takes place of the subject. So it is a flip flop. You can see कि जो the dog है वो पिछले सेंटेंस में एक्टिव सेंटेंस में वो सब्जेक्ट था जो कि अब ऑब्जेक्ट बन चुका है और the boy जो कि पहले ऑब्जेक्ट था अब वो सब्जेक्ट बन चुका है. So it is a flip flop in passive voice. Understand? Now the chocolates are eaten by her. Same is the case with this sentence. The subject has become her object and the object has become subject. Okay. In example 1, boy is the subject was being jumped on. Understand? Boy is a subject जो कि पहले object था. ठीक है, पिछले सेंटेंस में पिछले एक्टिव वॉइस सेंटेंस में मैंने आपको बताया था कि बॉय एक ऑब्जेक्ट है. ऑब्जेक्ट क्यों था? क्योंकि उसके ऊपर काम किया जा रहा था, उस पर जंप किया जा रहा था और जंप करने वाला कौन था? सब्जेक्ट था. लेकिन इन पैसिव सेंटेंस में बॉय जो है वो सब्जेक्ट बन गया है और जो सब्जेक्ट था एक्टिव वॉइस का वो ऑब्जेक्ट बन गया. In example 2, chocolates is being eaten by her. Okay, so chocolates are here subject now. In the active sentence, chocolates were object, and in the passive sentence, chocolates are subject now. So it's the flip flop. Understand? ओके स्टूडेंट्स अब आपको जैसे पता लग गया है कि व्हाट इज एन एक्टिव सेंटेंस एंड व्हाट इज एन पैसिव सेंटेंस. सो हियर आर सम formula to understand to change the active sentence into a passive sentence. So active sentence contains a simple formula, SVO formula: subject, verb and object. Subject, action means verb, and the object. And in passive voice, object has become object is on the place of subject and plus helping verb plus third form of verb plus by plus subject. Now object has taken place of subject, then verb, the action, and the subject has taken place of object. Now it is a flip flop again. Okay students, um, let me tell you something. In passive voice, we will always use third form of verb. Understand? We will always use third form of verb and the preposition by. These are the basic changes of active voice into passive voice sentence. Let's move further. So, here is an example. Ali repaired my car. So, in this sentence, Ali is the subject. He is repairing a car. Okay, and car is an object. The object, the thing that is that the subject is acting upon. Understand? And its passive is my car was repaired by Ali. So the car in active sentence, Ali repaired my car, and in the passive sentence, car was repaired by Ali. So you can see that the subject has become the object in uh, passive voice sentence, and the object of the active voice has become subject of the passive voice. Okay students, here are some changes we will do in changing of the voice. So While changing the subject to object, you will do these changes. Understand? uh, and the changes are of pronoun. आपको जब एक्टिव वॉइस से पैसिव वॉइस में सेंटेंस को चेंज करना होता है तो आप ये प्रोनाउंस की ये वाली चेंजिंग करते हैं. अंडरस्टैंड? आई विल बी चेंजिंग टू मी, he will be changing to him, she will be changing to her, we will be changing to us, and they will be changing to them. Understand? Okay, students, as we are doing indefinite tenses today, so I have made a table of indefinite tenses here. So in indefinite tense, present indefinite tense, we use first form of verb. Okay, and in active voice we use first form of verb, but when we will make passive voice of present indefinite tense, we will use these helping verbs is, am, and are, and the third form of verb. Understand? As I had told you before that passive voice always contains third form of verb, so we will use uh, is, am, are, and third form of verb in present indefinite tense. In past indefinite tense, we use second form of verb. So in passive voice, we will use was and were as a helping verb, and we use third form of verb, written. Okay. In future indefinite tense, we use first form of verb, and in passive voice of future indefinite tense, we will use will be or shall be, and third form of verb. Understand? So now here are some examples. Number one example is a present indefinite example. Okay, he sells his clothes. ठीक है. So इसको अब हमने passive voice में change करना है. So as I had told you before that we will use helping verb is, am, are, and third form of verb. So its passive voice is his clothes are sold by him. Now you can see that the clothes are the object, and it has become the subject here. So the clothes are the object, it has become subject, and the here, and the subject of the active voice has become object here. So this is the example of present indefinite tense. Now moving forward, past indefinite tense. He sold his clothes. In past indefinite tense, we use second form of verb. So here we use was and were as a helping verb, and third form of verb in its passive voice. His clothes were sold by him. In future indefinite tense, we use first form of verb and will or shall. But in passive voice of future indefinite tense, we use will be and third form of verb. His clothes will be sold by him. So we will do negative and interrogative sentences of active, passive, indefinite tenses here. He does not sell his clothes. It is an example of present indefinite tense. He does not sell his clothes. So when we will change it into passive voice, we will write it like this. His clothes are not sold by him. And while making its interrogative sentence, we will do this like this. Does he sell his clothes? Are his clothes sold by him? Understand? Number two sentence. He did not, it is an example of past indefinite tense. He did not sell his clothes. His clothes were not sold by him. And its interrogative sentences, did he sell his clothes? Were his clothes sold by him? Example of future indefinite tense, negative sentence. He will not sell his clothes. His clothes will not be sold by him. And its interrogative is, will he sell his clothes? Will his clothes should be sold by him? So here are the examples. I hope that you all have a good understanding now of active and passive indefinite tenses. Here is your diary today. Change the voice of the given sentences. Here are some sentences. Here are 8 sentences that you all have to change the voice of. You all have to change. Uh, you all have to do this homework in English B copy, English grammar copy, and you all have to do it very intelligently. These are really very easy. You can also take help from this lecture again and again. So let me read these sentences for you. He opens the door. You do not write the letter. She sang a song. Did he send the letter? Sana will buy a new computer. I draw a picture. Our boss will sign the contract. Will the plumber repair the shower? So students, as you can see that I have given here sentences of uh, 3 of the indefinite tenses: past indefinite, present indefinite, and future indefinite tenses, and also negative sentences and interrogative sentences. So you all have to do these sentences very intelligently. Okay, first of all, you all have to indicate that either the sentence is present, past, or future, and then you will apply the rules of that particular tense. So it will be easy for you to do it. Okay, so you all have to do all this homework in your English B copy, and you all have to click a picture of your homework and send it to me. I will come with a new video in the next week. Till then, you all have to take care of yourself. Allah Hafiz.